Welcome to the School, where we talk about issues that matter to the state, void of politics, fear of favor. Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samonate George, has disclosed that the government is preparing a policy proposal that will require users to verify their identity before accessing pornographic websites in the country. Speaking at the fourth Speaking at the fourth African Interparliamentary Conference on Family Sovereignty and Values, the Negro Pampram Member of Parliament said the proposal is intended to prevent children from being exposed to explicit online content. According to him, the policy is currently being prepared for cabinet consideration and could require users to provide either a driver's license or a national identification card before accessing to adult website. We are working on going to cabinet that to make sure before you access any X related site, you must put either your driver's license or your national ID card so that we know who you are and who is going to that site to prevent children from being exposed to such content. Some George cited measures being implemented in United Kingdom as an example of effort to restrict minors' access to online pornography. Today in the United Kingdom, for you to access pornographic websites, you need to put your driver's license for them to be able to determine you are 18 years. The minister argued that unrestricted exposure to pornography at an early age could negatively affect children's development, values, and decision making. Sam George also linked the proposal to broader discussions around the protection of children and the preservation of what he described as African family values. During his address, he renewed his support for the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, known as the Anti-LGBTQ Plus Bill, arguing that one of the primary objectives of the legislation is the protection of children. The communication minister maintained that Ghana has a responsibility to preserve cultural and family values for future generations. So the Minister for Communication and Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam Nate George, is proposing an initiative, and that has to do with for you to access a porn website or a website to watch a porn or whatever it is. You need to present an ID card or a driver's license. And he has been bashed since yesterday when this thing was posted. Now, for somebody to access a porn site, that has to do with the person's choice. If you want to watch it from morning to evening, that's to do with your problem. But I think he's trying to focus it on children. If you go to other countries, not only in the United Kingdom, in other countries as well, they ban pornography, and that has to do with you're presenting something like an ID card. There's going to be a question you're supposed to answer before you can access the video, because they've realized that the porn and all stuff is manipulating the mindset of this adolescents, and so they were finding a solution to bring an end to it. So some George want to introduce that in the country here in Ghana. For me, it's not a problem, but I think my main problem is, why don't we focus on the communications sector, which he is the Minister of Communication? There are lots of issues and lots of challenges that people are calling on the ministry to focus on, and that has to do with a cost of data. When Sam George was in opposition, he said that then when we used to buy the data, he said it was too expensive and all that. So when he became a minister, people were expecting, an increase or something. But you see, of late, you will buy data and it's as if someone somewhere is chanting and incarnating on the data you bought. You bought a data and then within a second, the data is finished. And then you ask yourself, what did you use it for? You cannot even count up to 5 the videos you've downloaded. And then, your data is finished. And I think these are questions people are asking. Another one has to do with the previous government. When the previous government were in power, I mean, we did SIM re-registration, and there've been calls that there are some irregularities that were being pinpointed. And so we were expecting that these people will be held accountable. Because before the SIM re-registration, they told us that they were doing that purposely because they want to bring an end to this fraud issues and all that. Tell me why someone will call me, mention my name, and tell me even the amount I have in my account. Someone will call me and tell me I should key in this, key in that, and then within a second, my money is gone. But they told us that the SIM re-registration was going to bring an end or a stop to that. But after the SIM re-registration, we even saw worse. We saw worse, and we are still experiencing it. So we are expecting some natty just to spearhead this. The right question should be asked. Why did we re-register our SIM? And after that, what we were experiencing before, with the notion that that is not going to happen again, we are still experiencing it. So what is it? What don't we know? And what are the measures being put in place to put a stop to that? These are questions we are asking. We've still not gotten an answer to that. And I think with that, he also come up with a SIM. I don't know how far they've gotten with that, and I don't know when we are starting it. He also came up with SIM re-registration issues, and then he made mention of the same irregularities and all that associated, some challenges associated with the previous SIM registration done by the MPP administration. And so we will need to re-register our SIM. And I remember that people bashing for that too. So with that, we don't know how far they've gotten to the with that, but we are still asking questions like how far? When it has to do with DST issue, some judge says he's going to cut 30% of it. Ekosi ya DSTVC and reduce the price. That issues too. Then share. And I remember some time ago, there was still information about misinformation, disinformation, people coming on board to say things that do not exist, and a whole lot. And we said, some judge, this is your office. Kindly do something about it for us. We saw instances where he went on various platforms to talk about this misinformation, disinformation of a thing, but it is still in existence. People still take their phone and then they misinform the public. They say things that do not exist. They defame people, tarnish people's image. These are issues that need to be solved. I'm not saying that it's bad, because first off, I said pornography or whatever it is, I think there is a limit. But now everyone has a phone. Even a kid as young as 10 years. Some of them have tablets. And so they access websites that their parents even have no idea of. So if you're bringing a restriction, it is not bad at all. It is not bad. Because definitely they are going to question you. Why are you coming in for maybe your age? Maybe they will have to ask you your date of birth so they can confirm. They will have to ask you to present your ID card, which is the Ghana card, because we use the Ghana card for everything as it stands now. Or maybe your driver's license for you to access it. That is because they want to prevent these minors from accessing adult content. But have you also come to think of it that there are some kids that can even use their parents' details with their ID cards and then present themselves as an adult and still access those videos? They can still do that. So we are not saying that what he's bringing on board is bad, but then we feel like there are other issues that needs more attention. There are other pressing issues that we need to address, most especially with the misinfo and the disinfo of a thing. That is something that we need to pay attention to. Very, very serious. Very, very, very serious. And you see, I feel like when you are in opposition, the way you speak is different from when you are being given the nod to handle the office. And it is because from afar, what you see is not the realities on ground. So right now, I don't know which is which, But then I feel like some not a judge, please. We are begging you. I think there are other pressing issues you will need to pay attention to. And I believe that will help us, especially with the data issue. Because I remember you gave it to Esla Owusu Woto. It wasn't easy. With this data of a thing. And so we were also expecting something very big. But here we are, we buy data and then in the next seconds, it's gone. And so we need answers, clarification on that. We need clarification on the re-registration, the irregularities you mentioned. How far? Is there any development on that? Are we supposed to know? Then the misinformation of a thing. Today you on your telly and then you see people saying all kinds of nonsense on television on the whole telly, because that is the person's station. And sometimes I wonder whether these people they even have the license, because what they talk about, you on your TV today and they are propagating how to get a big breast, how to get a big butt, how to do that, how to do this. And these are content that are being consumed not only by adults but also by kids. So I think this is something that we need to take very, very seriously. And not to even talk about Ghanaian television stations that are illegally taking people's videos, especially Nigerians. This has been a call. And with that issue too, we don't know how far we've gotten to. So with the porn aspect, it's not bad. But then I feel there are other pressing issues that we need to pay attention to. We can equally do same because other countries succeeded in doing it. And I believe that I think kids should watch what is meant for them, and adults should also watch what is meant for them. But how well are we going to enforce this? If I'm a kid, I can take my father's ID card, pretend to be my father, mention his name, his date of birth, and then present his ID card and still access that video. I think this should be taught you. Thank you for making time with me on the screen.